Hello, and welcome, all you Pokemon lovers out there, to my wonderful little URPG focused but not entirely centered podcast. While this is mainly for URPG stuff, there will be times where I'll be like expanding out episodes to talk about other things, and you know, general Pokemon fiction and stuff like that. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Reiki. I'm 20 years old. I live in South Carolina. And you're listening to my podcast. But anyway, I did this little Q&A thing. This is going to be, well, okay. I opened up questions for people to ask me for this thing. And you guys did not disappoint. You absolutely sent in questions. So, I'm going to go through the questions that were asked. And, we're gonna get that done. So, sorry, I lost my train of thought momentarily. That happens a lot because ADHD brain. So, we are going to go and I'm gonna look at the question that was. There's one question on my YouTube, on the YouTube video, so I'm gonna look at that I posted. So there was one person who asked a question on there. So let me check that out. And then then I'll be able to yeah. Okay, so they asked me, what is your favorite drawing you've ever done? And I gotta say, probably the one that I'm most proud of, there's this one of a sunflower I did that I technically did not actually finish, but that was the point. Excuse me. That I did not technically finish. And, it is currently above me right now. I am in my grandma's room, so it's like, it's on the dresser. No, it's not a dresser. It's like a cabinet of some sort, and it's on top, and it's leaning against the wall, and it was done in graphite, not charcoal, but graphite, which is nearly as unforgiving, honestly, and it is hell to work with. Absolutely hell. I do not recommend 0 out of 10. And so that's the one that I'm probably proudest of, just because you know, people care about it so much. I also have one I did of my dog that is a painting, and it's black and white, and it's, people have said that it captures her perfectly. So why am I yawning? What the hell? It's only 9:18. But yeah, they say that it captures her personality, so I really like that one too. So now I'm moving on to the questions that were done in the Google Forms. I got 3 responses, but some of them had multiple questions in them. The first one kind of has nothing to do with anything, but I'm gonna answer it anyway, just because I feel like they are wanting me to answer, so I'm gonna answer it. And the question is, how do you feel when you hear of the Columbine shooting? I don't really know what prompted anybody to ask me this, but I feel very bad because, like, I mean, it was sad. People died. I mean, but I don't have any personal connection to it because it was before I was even born, and I didn't know anybody who was connected to it. Like, I can still be like, that was sad because I have empathy. But I'm not gonna lie awake at night crying over it or anything, like, because I don't have any personal attachment to it. Like, it sucks and it's horrible, but the people who did it are dead. And, we have not forgotten the victims, so I think, other than the fact that we have no form of gun control, I think we're doing fine. So, now for the next questions. What's the best fanfiction you've ever read? Oh boy. Um, the best fanfiction I've ever read that, like, I guess best here being the one that really feels close to me is probably I'm trying to think. Um and I know this is gonna sound bad, but I'm trying to think of ones that I haven't written. But the reason why the ones that I have written stick to me so closely is because they're very personal. Not because I'm like vain or anything. It's just because they're very personal and I feel them on a deep level. But I guess when it comes to the best fanfiction I've ever read, it was a Bakano fanfiction that somebody wrote for me for a Secret Santa thing. Purple Flowers and Burning Fire, I think is the title. And it if you know anything about Bakano, it's focused on Dallas Genoward, but like I have this headcanon that he's transgender, and they kind of took that headcanon for me and like expanded on it a lot. And I really love it. It's really good. And it's amazing. And it's on Archive of Our Own, so if you look it up on there, you'll probably be able to find it. It's really good. Long fic, but definitely a good read. So, one piece of work I would feel like I would write fanfic for if I got around to it. Oh boy. So, I'm guessing this is referring to like a work that I don't know of or that I haven't seen but would write fanfiction for if I had seen it. And I feel like that would probably be My Hero Academia. If I ever watched it, I'd probably write a lot of fanfic for it, but I have never seen it, so I don't write any fanfic for it because I have not seen it. And then the next question is, why do you think slash fic is so popular? You want me to be honest here? It's because people see gay men as like objects and not people. But a deeper way of answering that, because people nowadays, like, there are certain circles certain things are appropriate in. And in the circle of like fictional media, a lot of times it is seen as okay for people to basically objectify and fetishize gay men in their relationships. And that's part of the reason why a lot of the bad stuff I believe is popular. However, when we go to like the good side of it, because there's a good side and a bad side. The good side is because more people, there are a lot of LGBT people in fandom, a lot more than a lot of people think there are. And we are obviously going to write stuff that reflects how we feel. So a lot of us also, we write about things that are close to us. And for the gay men, that's gay male relationships, obviously, because, I mean, if we're gay men, we're not dating women. So, who else are we dating? We're dating other men. And the last reason why I think it's so popular is because the males are featured in pretty much every piece of media. There's men everywhere, and women tend to be in short supply. So a lot of times uh they tend to have more chemistry with each other than with a female. So like, yeah, a lot of the ships are going to be male centric because you're focusing most of your time on the men. Excuse me. If it was more even, there probably wouldn't be as much, but again, I can't say for sure. Because there's always going to be people out there who ship gay stuff, like me. So, how do you deal with negative comments is the next question. And, like, it depends on what the negative comment is and what you mean by negative comment. Because, like, some people take criticism as being a negative comment. I don't take it that way. I take it as somebody took the time out of their day to, like, tell me how I can improve. So, I don't see it as necessarily a negative comment. However, if somebody were to come on and be like, this sucks, I would just be like, okay, you didn't have to read it. Like, that would be my answer, is like, if somebody just walks up and clicks on my fan fiction, reads through it, and all they have to say is this sucks, then I don't really care. Like, I don't take that into account when I'm writing because they're not telling me anything. If they said, hey, I don't think this is your best work because blah, 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 then yes, that would be different. I would take that into account. I would think about that. And the next time I wrote, I would consider that. But, I mean, if they're not going to do that, then how am I supposed to? I don't understand what people mean when they're like, when they come in and they're like, oh, this stinks. Like, okay, tell me why, or don't say anything at all. Okay, so the last questions came from a buddy of mine on URPG named Liam. And Liam sent me some questions on Discord because he is on mobile and could not comment on the Google form. So here are his questions. So his first one is, what is your favorite Pokemon type and region? My favorite Pokemon is Sylveon. My favorite type are fairies. And my favorite region is Alola. Just, you know, just because. Just because I like them. Like, honestly, I don't have a deep meaning to it. I just like them. And if you were a gym leader IRL, what kind of gym would you have? And what mons would you have on your team? Well, I would have a, probably like a themed gym. And the theme would be like probably, mammal-like Pokemon, like animals that are like felines, canines, you know, stuff like four-legged ones like that. I feel like I would have a Incineroar. I would have a Sylveon. I would probably also have I would like to have an Umbreon. And then I would have a Arcanine. And then I would have a oh geez. Houndoom, I think is Houndoom the evolved version? I think it is. Houndoom. And then probably an Absol, because Absol are cool as hell. And those are the 6 that would be on my team, I'm guessing, because you get 6. So, my least favorite Pokemon. I really gotta think there, because honestly, it's like asking me what my least favorite type of animal is, because like I don't have a least favorite. I guess if you were asking me what kind I focus on the least, it would probably be the bug types. But like I don't dislike them. Like they're not my, I don't hate them. It's just that I don't focus on them as much. And then lastly, he asked me, I know you like Steven Universe. Who are your top 3 favorite characters? And if they're a Pokemon, which mons would they be? So my top 3 favorite characters from Steven Universe is incredibly easy, and it's going to go Jasper, Peridot, and Malachite. Because I would give my life for those 3. And Jasper, because Jasper is the victim nobody wants to acknowledge, I guess, because like you can't argue that Jasper isn't a victim because she is. She was a victim of, she was literally a child soldier, so like get out my face with that whole she wasn't a victim thing. And she was abused by Lapis. Yes, she was. I'm not going to go into deep detail because this isn't a Steven Universe podcast. Well, this episode isn't. But she was abused by Lapis. Lapis admits this in Alone at Sea. And she is interesting because she is not your typical victim. She's not the person you think of when you think of a victim. And I like that because a lot of people are victims and you can't tell like just by looking at them. You know, like you're not going to be able to tell who's a victim and who's a perpetrator just by looking at a situation all the time. There are plenty of situations where the physically stronger person is often dominated or abused by the physically weaker person because they're afraid of hurting them, so they don't act as they normally would, which then gets thrown back in their face. In Jasper's case, happens all the time. Why didn't she do XYZ? Or like, why didn't you fight back? Why didn't you do this? Blah, 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 blah. Because then I would be seen as the perpetrator, you know, or Jasper would be seen as a perpetrator. That comes, I've had the same problem because I'm black and black people are, a lot of times stereotyped as being very aggressive. So, like, when it comes to a lot of my abusers who were very small white people, had I reacted in a fashion that people would expect of me, then I would have been considered the perpetrator rather than the victim. So that's why I feel with Jasper a lot. Peridot is great because she's quirky, she's cute. She gives me mega autism vibes. I have autism, so Peridot gives me mega autism vibes. And she's one of those characters who's like, she actually undergoes a change. She's a very round character. She's not just comic relief villain. She's actually like, she actually becomes something. And then Malachite, because I feel for what Malachite could have been, and I understand how Malachite like feels, like not being allowed to be her own person, basically, and just two halves that are fighting, kind of thing. And also because her design is fucking cool. All right, I mean, like, you can't deny that Malachite's design is cool, because it is. It's cool as hell. If they were a Pokemon, Jasper is pretty easy. I feel like she would be an Incineroar, like, no doubt. Because she's fiery and fighty and all that other kind of stuff. Peridot would probably be a Porygon, because of the data thing, and also because Porygon are like, they're really cute, and also they I don't know, they give me Peridot vibes, if that makes sense. They just give me like vibes that like Peridot would be a Porygon. And then for Malachite, I feel like Malachite, if she was a Pokemon, this one is a little bit harder, but I feel like she would be something like she wouldn't be a legendary, because some people would think, maybe she'd be a legendary. I don't think she would be. I think she would probably be like, I'm trying to narrow it down in my head. She would be closest, I think, to a some kind of like Charizard, because they do tend to be stubborn and hard-headed, but also they can be very loyal, and they can be really good to have on your team and everything. And I feel like Malachite, had she been allowed to like actually be Malachite, then like we would have seen those parts of Jasper and Lapis like come together, but also her own. Like how Garnet is. Like Garnet is parts of Ruby and Sapphire, but she's also her own person. Like, that's how I think Malachite would be if Malachite were allowed to be Malachite. So like a Charizard I would choose for her. And so those are all the questions that I got for now. And I'm really glad that you guys stuck around and listened to me ramble for 17, 18 minutes. And make sure to subscribe if you liked it. And make sure that you stick around, because I'm going to start doing more informative episodes soon. So have fun and stay alive. Like, don't die or anything. That would suck. And see you later. Goodbye, Pokemon lovers.